All right, page 399 in your math book, topic 12, block 4 on page 399. Question number 1, some disadvantages to solving systems using a table. Solving systems using a table is time consuming because it involves lots of arithmetic. And if it involves decimals or fractions, anything other than integers, it gets even more complicated and more time consuming. And it's just a pain in the neck. So let's move on to question number 2. It says, what system of equations is graphed here? Well, when they're asking this question, what they're really asking is, we're going to write the equations for the 2 lines that we see. What are the equations for the lines that we see here? And remember, you can write the equation for a line. For those of you that did the homework on writing equations by looking at a graph, you would know that you have the slope-intercept form of a line. Y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Now, let's talk about those for just a moment, okay? Remember, m is, again, like I said, it's the slope. It's also called the rate of change of a line, if it's a function, and it is the change in y over or divided by the change in x. That's slope, okay? And b is our y-intercept, all right? Our y-intercept. I'm going to abbreviate it like this. And remember, that is our y-intercept is when we have an xy pair. Why am I thinking? There we go. When we have an xy ordered pair, it is the y value when x is 0. My thing isn't writing. There we go. It is the y value. There we go. When x is 0, what is our y value? That's the y-intercept. So we can look at these 2 lines, the red line and the blue line, and we can write them in slope-intercept form just by looking at them. So first of all, every equation starts with y equals, if it's in slope-intercept form, y equals, so let's look at our red line. Now, first of all, look at where the line crosses the y-axis. And I can see right here that the line crosses the y-axis, because here's our y-axis, right? It's this line right here that runs all the way down. This line crosses our y-axis at -1. So where our y-intercept goes is -1. Then all we have to do is come up with our slope. What will our slope be that will be multiplied by x? Well, we have to determine what our slope is. So let's see. So from that point where it crosses the y-axis, where's the next spot where it makes an intersection? And it looks like right here at that point. So if we wanted to, because this graph is nicely laid out by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We can just start from here at -1 and we can go up. Make our triangle, right? And we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. So our change in y goes up 3, and to the right 1, and 3 divided by 1 is just 3. So our slope is 3. Okay, now I'm going to erase my calculations right here, just because I'm going to need that room for my next, the other line. Okay, and the blue line, of course, it's going to start out y equals also. And let me erase the stuff that I've done here, just so I can, well, hold on a second. There we go. erase all that stuff so we can see where it is again. Okay, let's start with the y-intercept, right? Our y-intercept, I'll highlight it in blue or very light blue. And where does our line cross the y-axis? Well, you can see it's right here at 3, and that's positive 3. So our y-intercept is positive 3. Now, what is our slope? Remember, it's our change in y over the change in x. And we have to look from, like, say, from that point. I'm going to zoom in here just really quickly. From this point here to the next point that it crosses, well, it's right there. That's pretty easy. So I'm going to go down 1. So it's down 1. And to the right 1. So that's negative 1 over 1 because I'm going down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. So now what is negative 1 divided by 1? Well, that's just negative 1. Now, negative 1 times x is our slope. Now, or sorry, negative 1 is our slope. But the weird thing about this, when we have, let me get rid of that stuff now. When we have negative 1 times x, well, what is 1 times x? 1 times x is x. But what is negative 1 times x? Well, then it's just negative x. And so we can actually change this right here. Whoops, hold on a second. I was using the wrong point. I can change negative 1x to just negative x. Ah, come on now, Mr. Eaton. Keep losing stuff. There we go. So our slope was negative 1, and then multiply that by x. But remember, that becomes just negative x. So that's our system of equations. All right? Right there is our system of equations. Y equals 3x minus 1, and y equals negative x plus 3. You know what? And I forgot. I'm going to, just for fun, negative x plus 3. I was doing that in blue. Whatever. There we go. To represent the blue line. Okay. So now the great thing about when you look at a graph of a set of equations, you can find the solution. The solution to the system is simply where these lines intersect. That's the beautiful part about solving systems using a graph. It's where the lines cross each other. And that is so easy to see. Here it is. Right there at that point is where our lines cross each other. So that's fantastic. So all we have to do now is just go, all right, well, our solution is going to be, now if we look at it, it's an XY pair. So it's over 1 up 2. 1, 2, here's our solution. Because there it is. Right? 1, 2. 1 to the right, 2 up. So that's our solution. Now we can check that by putting it into each of our equations. So all we have to do is substitute these values in. Remember, this is an XY pair. So in this case, if we use equation number 1, we would say, okay, 2 is our Y value equals 3 times 1, which is our X value, minus 1. Okay. Now, let's keep going. 3 times 1 is 3 minus 1. And what is 3 minus 1? It's 2. Does 2 equal 2? Yeah, it does. So that one checks out. Yay, right? Now this one, the next one, we're going to use it. And you know what? I'm going to change colors so I don't confuse things here. Now we're going to use this one. And we're going to substitute our values again. Remember, so y is 2. Oh, come on. There we go. 2 equals, and x is 1. So that's negative 1 plus 3. Now, what is negative 1 plus 3? Well, it's 2. 2 equals 2, so that one checks out. So our answer is correct. We are right. Okay, so that puts us in really great shape. Now, let me really quickly here, I'm going to stop